Have you ever felt like you're being pulled in two completely different directions when it comes to your health? It's like, on one hand, you're trying to do what's right for your body, but on the other, you've got this massive, powerful world of advertising telling you a totally different story. Well, that's exactly the conflict we're going to unpack right now.
All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with two of the absolute heavyweights in the advertising world, big pharmaceutical companies and, of course, the junk food industry. I mean, these guys have basically perfected the art of persuasion, and their work, well, it has a huge impact on the choices we make every single day.
You've seen it, right? It's a great question. You'll be watching a commercial for some really serious medical condition, and yet the people in the ad are just living their best life. They're laughing, they're gardening, they're playing with their grandkids. It creates this kind of weird feeling, this total disconnect between the problem and the solution they're selling. So, what is really going on there?
Well, while we're being shown these images of pure, unadulterated joy, the reality of the medication can be pretty different. Take Rinvoq, for example. It's one of the most advertised drugs out there. The list of potential side effects, the part they rattle off at lightning speed at the end of the commercial, it is staggering. We're talking about things like serious infections, cancer, and even blood clots.
The strategy is just incredibly effective. It's simple, really. You create this powerful, positive, emotional connection to the idea of a cure, and suddenly, the very real risks get minimized in your brain. The ad isn't just selling you a drug, it's selling you the feeling of a happy, carefree life. And that makes that legally required list of scary side effects feel like just a minor footnote. And this exact same principle is at play in the food industry. The reason that junk food tastes so unbelievably good? That is not an accident. Companies have engineered what are called hyper-palatable foods. These are things scientifically designed with the perfect storm of fat, sugar, and salt to be completely irresistible by hijacking the reward centers in our brains. They spend billions perfecting this formula. And if we put them side by side, you see different tactics, but for the very same goal. Soda ads, they sell a lifestyle. It's all about happiness, fun, being cool. Drug ads, on the other hand, they have to give you information on benefits and risks. One is regulated by the FTC, the other by the much tougher FDA. But at the end of the day, both are absolute masters at shaping our desires and our decisions. So what's the end result of all of this? What happens? Well, behind all the persuasive ads and the perfectly engineered foods, there's a really significant and often hidden cost to our collective health.
$4.3 trillion. Let that sink in. That is the annual healthcare spending in the United States. It's a number so huge it's almost impossible to even wrap your head around. I mean, we spend way more on healthcare than any other high-income nation on the planet. But the real question is, what are we getting for all that money?
And this right here just brilliantly illustrates the paradox. Despite that record-shattering spending, the U.S. has the lowest life expectancy, the highest rate of avoidable deaths, and the highest burden of chronic disease among all its peers. We are literally spending the most to get some of the worst results.
So where do those poor outcomes come from? Well, you can draw a straight line to products sold every single day. Look at this number, 10 teaspoons. That is the amount of sugar in one single 12-ounce can of soda. In just one drink, that's more than 80% of the daily sugar intake that's recommended. Wild.
And the damage isn't just physical, about weight gain. A diet high in this kind of food can directly harm your brain. It causes inflammation, it could damage the part of your brain that handles memory and emotion, and it can even increase your risk of depression and anxiety. Plus, it just devastates the diversity of our gut microbiome, which we now know is absolutely critical for our overall health.
This quote from our source material just sums it all up perfectly. We're bombarded with ads for products that help cause chronic illness, and then we're sold incredibly expensive medications to manage those exact same illnesses. We are quite literally sawing off the branch we're sitting on.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be this way. It's not all doom and gloom. After looking at the problem, let's explore a more mindful, a more conscious path forward, both for us as consumers and for the brands that serve us.
So, what if companies operated differently? Well, so-called conscious brands are built on a completely different set of values. They're driven by a higher purpose that goes way beyond just profit. They actually practice empathy for their customers, they aim to drive positive change, and they act with integrity. It's a fundamentally different model of doing business.
And this new way of thinking, it extends to our own health too. We're moving away from that old, traditional, one-size-fits-all nutrition advice. The future is personalized nutrition, using our own unique data, everything from our genetics to our microbiome, to create a plan that truly optimizes our individual health, not just trying to improve a population average.
And ultimately, this brings all the power back to us. While advertising and industry are always going to be there, this quote is such a good reminder that true well-being, it isn't found in a pill or in a package. The capacity for health, that jewel that we're all looking for, it's already inside of us. The final decision is always ours. The source material for this explainer closes with this really powerful thought. Signposts are all around us, yet we don't have the eyes to see. So the final question really is for you. After all this, what signposts in your own life, in the ads you see, the food on the shelves, the choices in front of you, will you now have the eyes to see?